Hello and welcome to another live discussion regarding extinctionism with myself, James, Steve, and our guest today, Hypnotized.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So, do you know anything about the movement that we're representing, the pro-extinction movement, or is it completely new to you?
It's a little bit new. I've seen like a couple of videos on it, but I haven't really seen too much into it. Like, is it trying to get like extinction for all life, like in the universe?
Yeah, basically. Well, you see, extinction isn't what motivates us, right? It's ending suffering. So obviously, life is a system whereby every life form here was forced into existence without consent into extreme conditions and effectively unsafe conditions. Sorry, I think we had a little blip. So yeah, life is forced into unsafe conditions where there are inevitably victims who experience the worst types of suffering, and essentially only ending the cycle of nature causing reproduction and animals mindlessly having children, right? They can't help it, they can't control it. Only by ending this system of forced existence and forcing life into extreme suffering and conditions and cruel deaths, cruel fates. Only by ending this system can we end and prevent all suffering, basically. So it's a system that is just churning out victims, churning out suffering. It's not a good system. There's no point in it, really. Existence for the sake of existence just creates victims.
Exactly. There's no existence without suffering. You can't exist and not suffer.
Yeah, exactly.
So
a lion has to, a lion has to kill the zebra, or the lion starves and dies. So there isn't really an existence without suffering, right? Somebody always loses.
yeah, that's just kind of how evolution's been. You got to kill to survive, and
Yeah.
eventually you'll get killed or you just die.
Yeah, evolution actually cares only about survival. It doesn't care whether you have a good quality of life, right?
Yeah, no, nature does not care. Nature is, it's
Indifferent.
amoral, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's, the lion was conditioned to, enjoy killing and eating. And in the same way, animals and even humans, right, are kind of the same in that they had to be selfish to survive, right? If you had, selfless animals that refused to steal or kill or to eat other animals, there's just no way they would survive, right? And so we're essentially seeing the continuation of that system. And people are wrongly assuming that it makes sense and that it's a good, sensical, intelligent system that we should keep it going. It's just literally like a blip in the universe where some life came about by accident. It caused extreme suffering, right? There's no point or purpose to this, and as long as it's going to keep guaranteeing victims and suffering, it's something that should be ended.
No, yeah, like our time, well, any like of life's time on Earth is pretty much just like a blink of the eye in like a year's worth of time. Like, yeah, we can't really make much significance to anything, like, because everything's like traveling faster away than we can travel. We can't really impact anything except from our own solar system. So, how much cause can we really have?
See, that's something that you see. That's something that you really can't decide right now, right? whether we can impact only our solar system or that is something that science has to answer. Actually, like current theoretical physics has stuff debunking what you just said. So, like for example, there is a concept called vacuum decay. Large, like experiments in Large Hadron Collider, they have proven that universe is in a metastable state. So, like like quantum tunneling of Higgs field can lead to like causing of vacuum decay. Like a vacuum bubble will form and it will expand at the speed of light. So all these theories are out there, but the thing is, what I believe is that we have a moral obligation to check it out and cause the most vast and thorough extinction possible. It's okay if we can only just reach the solar system, but it'll be better if we can reach more. But what we should do is we have to let science answer that instead of answering that ourselves. So what we are trying to accomplish is we want to gather empathetic people who want to end suffering, because the alternative is continuation of rape, continuation of animal abuse, continuation of predation, continuation of natural disasters, diseases, etc., etc. So these things are like literally unacceptable. They might be acceptable to a privileged individual, but it's not acceptable to the victims, and it's not acceptable to us, the empathetic people, right? So what we have to do is we have to search. We have a moral obligation now. We know that extinction is the only solution. So we have a moral obligation to search for the most optimal extinction. Whether we can reach the solar system or the galaxy or nearby supercluster or the entire universe, we have to start that research, right?
Also,
And
it's not all or
yeah,
nothing.
and meanwhile we can also fight for euthanasia for animals. So this is what we are advocating for.
What kind
So
of methods?
yeah, we'd have animal extinction probably long before space extinction.
Yeah. Are we doing this for like plant life as well, or do they not? I'm guessing they don't really count.
Any life can develop into complex life, right? So you'd be much safer off. The only safe way would be to make all life extinct, essentially. So that means making sure it doesn't come back. Any life that exists, there's a high possibility that it will just become more developed over time, as we've seen on Earth, until eventually we've got, the same problem. So
See, the fact is plants are not sentient. Bacteria, plants, these things don't have like consciousness. They cannot really feel suffering. But still we want to cause a very we want to be very thorough while we cause extinction, because even a bacteria can develop and form a new sentient being. Like it can evolve into a sentient being, and later like there is a risk of suffering, right? So though technically our ethics doesn't include non-sentient beings, we should include them in extinction. And there is literally like when we cause extinction, it's not going to be possible to like literally separate plants and bacteria from animals, right? So yeah, so we want to be we want to cause thorough extinction so that life doesn't come back. That is why we include them in extinction. There is a it's very important to know the distinction. We care about suffering. We don't care about like like beings that cannot suffer, beings that don't have consciousness, because there is literally no bad thing that is happening to them, right?
What kind of methods, or are there any methods that you guys know of, or that the movement knows of, that could like achieve this?
So the method is to grow the movement, right? And that's really important to understand. As a small movement currently, we can't do serious, science and research on finding the best method, right? Or deciding which method is better than the other. So we have to grow the movement to make anything possible.
So the thing is, I just told you about vacuum decay, right? So you
Yeah.
can just check about other methods which I have mentioned in my how extinction video. But the thing is, our goal is like not to limit extinction to Earth, right? So it doesn't make sense because we have to be as vast as possible and as thorough as possible. That is what will make the extinction effective, right? So if we can even like cause like cosmic extinction, like the entire universe, we have a moral obligation to check it out. I'm not saying it's possible. I would be wrong to claim that it is possible right now. And you would be wrong to claim that it isn't possible right now. Right. So there are some answers that only science can give. What we are saying right now is we check all the methods out, all the methods, right? So the entire methods in physics, we study biology more, we study physics more, we check out all the methods, and then we determine like after thorough scientific research, then we determine that okay, this is how much extinction that is possible, right? Obviously we cannot be morons, we cannot do something impractical, right? We cannot do magic. So we do scientific research to determine okay, this is as much as we can go. We can only reach our solar system, we can only be as thorough as possible on Earth, right? So we determine all these things, and then we cause the most optimal extinction. The most we shouldn't be hasty, right? So we cannot be like just throw some nuclear bombs. That's not going to cause extinction actually, right? So our thing is like it has to be scientific, and a lot of people should be involved, and we have to be very thorough, and we have to reach the maximum distance possible with extinction. So we have to research on all these methods, not just obsess over one method. We have to research on all these methods, and with the help of AI, right? So AI might even get to a point where it can continue the mission without us, right? So we can just euthanize the animals with us, and we can just go extinct and leave it to AI. That would also be a false claim if I make it now, because AI should get to that point for me to make that claim, right? So we want to only make practical claims, right? So our goal is like the causing the most optimal extinction, reaching as far as possible, and being as thorough as possible, and being as peaceful as possible, right? So we want to use like we want to be very like methodical about like we want to go by scientific method, right? We don't want to be hasty and just say that create a doomsday or whatever, right? So what we are trying to do right now is the movement is at like very very initial stages, right? Just now people are getting to starting to get the idea that extinction might be a thing, it might be an option. So what we do is we spread the message, we gather empathetic people who want to end suffering, right? So if you take me, I'm like a very privileged person, but I am very empathetic towards the sufferers. So I'm fighting for them, right? I haven't faced like literally like any horrible suffering in my life, but still that doesn't mean that I can use my privileges as an excuse to let suffering happen. So there are people like me out there. There are people like James out there, right? So who want to help the victims. So we just want to gather them so that this project can start. So this project is not going to be like something like you decide today and you create Armageddon tomorrow or something. So it's going to be like something that you should really work on. You should really follow protocols, procedures, and be very thorough about. So we gather those people, and we be the starting point of this is what we can like achieve in our lifetime. We are the starting point of the movement, right? This is going to be a multi-generational project that involves science, right? Social justice, political reforms, activism, right? All these things are going to be involved. Activism is the major thing, right? So that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to gather empaths as of now, so that this can start the research towards what determining what is the most optimal extinction we can cause.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's also something that can change over time and depending on the situation. You know, like in the future, even 10 years from now, it could be impossible to predict that situation, the context, politically, scientifically. You know, we could have AGI by then, right? So the landscape is constantly changing. We have to be nuanced and changing with it, right? If everyone became extinctionist tomorrow, we would probably start implementing methods for extinction and ending suffering on a small scale, while developing better ways to do it, right? So, for example, you couldn't actually remove all animal life on the planet without making the planet uninhabitable for humans. It would be literally uninhabitable. So we need to potentially develop ways to remove our dependency on animals. That way we can have a suffering-free planet, right? While we research if there's any other suffering that we can potentially help to end, beyond Earth. So, I mean, that would include that would involve making veganism more practical. Let's say if we somehow manage to make all human life, animal life extinct, right? Until we can rely on robots, right? We still need humans.
I mean, we cannot make all animal life extinct, but we can try to reduce their population.
Do you guys do you think it's cruel that some zoos try and breed animals to keep their species alive? What's your stance on that?
Yeah, obviously it's cruel.
Yeah.
See, zoos are cruel, right? So they are keeping animals in captivity for some eye candy, and people are taunting them always, traumatizing them, right? So zoos are cruel, and obviously breeding more animals is equal to more suffering, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, obviously it's cruel.
Yeah, I mean, there's a sort of attitude, which again is kind of the natural animalistic mentality, right? Of all life is good, don't worry about it, just focus on eating and sleeping and reproducing, right? Think like an animal. That's what people who are in support of suffering continuing are essentially doing. They're animalistically saying don't change the system, because animals weren't designed to be able to change the system that they live in, right? They were just designed to thrive within it. So we're just seeing a continuation of that. That's why the world is run by dictators. It's got full of wars, violence, hatred, racism, immoral religions, sexism, all of these horrible things, right? That's nature. It's primal. It's animal, but that's not a good thing.
No, yeah, I guess we still are tribal. We are still tribal animals. We have countries and even places within countries.
Exactly, our tribes are bigger, but still we act like animals, right?
I don't know if that'll ever change.
That will not change. For example, see, we have to accept that we are living in a deterministic world, right? So for example, you might think that a sadist who's torturing a puppy is like you know like uh, he's doing it, and he can choose to not do it. But actually, even if you have the same disorder he has, if you lack the mirror neurons, you are going to look at a tortured puppy and you are going to think that, hey, this isn't so bad, because you lack empathy, right? So the same way, these are mechanical defects, being a racist, being aggressive, being a sadist, being a rapist. All these are mechanical defects given to you by nature. Your brain develops in a certain way that doesn't allow you to see past your emotions, see logic, see rationality, be empathetic, right? So it is a like it is very it is a like dream if you think that you can convert all the humans. Like for example, like if you see vegans, they are very deluded that they think that they are going to convert everybody to veganism someday. But to be really honest, even racism hasn't been abolished, right? So they have just made it illegal, but majority people are still racist. If you see the people who are at power, they are right wingers. Their entire political agenda itself is based on racism, LGBT hate, animal hate, and all that, right? So what these activists essentially did is they didn't change the people's mindset. What they did is they like if you take like an issue like slavery, right, or apartheid, only 1% of the total population, not even 1% of the total population would have been like against it, doing activism for it, right? So the rest of the 99% of the society would have been oppressing them. They would have been fighting for slavery. But these people, they use strategy. They outsmarted the rest of the 99%, and like they literally did boycotting, riots, went to war. They did whatever it took to like shake the system and make it illegal to abuse slaves. Right? This is what has happened. Nobody has changed anybody's mindset as of yet. Right? So, for example, a person with sadism disorder, he marries one woman and he gives birth to a child. That child has like 75% chance of getting that same sadism disorder. Right? So all these genetics are being maintained. The aggression, the narcissism, all these are being maintained. So you are not you are living in a deterministic world where your brain literally controls you, and your brain is determined by your genetics and your growth environment, etc., etc. So it's literally impossible to convince someone with a sadism disorder that torturing a puppy is bad. It's literally impossible for like making them choose not to, right? It's only possible to force them, right? So this is what every single modern ideology should understand. Modern movement should understand, because the change hasn't been made by convincing everybody. It has only been made by gathering empathetic people who actually care about the victims, and forcing the system to change. That is exactly how a future movement should work as well, because convincing 8 billion people of one single ideology is very impossible. Our empathy levels will differ, our rationality levels will differ, our intelligence will differ, and it's really impossible to do that. So what we have to do is we have to reach those empathetic people who want to help the sufferers, people who care about animals, people who care about children being raped, people who care about like wars happening, people who care about stray animals, wild animals, etc., etc. We just like gather them, and then we start working on our project. Right? We bring whatever social changes necessary, which will support extinction. We bring whatever laws. We bring. We do whatever it takes. Just like anti-slavery took some wars and coups and disruptions, boycotting, etc., etc. We also do whatever it takes to end suffering. That is the strategy every single successful social justice movements have used. You are right. Like we cannot convince people. Like we just gather empathetic people.
That does it.
Yeah, it's usually minority that does the change, right? So even if you look at 1958, one survey they have took in United States. So people against interracial marriages, right? So 94% of the United States citizens have voted they are against interracial marriages, meaning they were racist in 1958, right? And the rest of the 6% were no comments, or like I support black people, but I won't do activism for them. So if you minus all of them, how much percentage of activists do you think like fought for the black people? It would be like less than 1%.
Yeah, tiny.
Right. So nobody, like 99% of the society doesn't care. They don't mind if whatever happens. They are
That's
like,
understandable.
yeah, they are like, we will mind our own family. We'll mind ourselves. We need to get a job. We need to get married. We need a good education. All that cringe shit. So only 1%, historically speaking, like any issue, there hasn't been more than 1% of activists in for like actively fighting for any issue. So that is the 1% that will get to the streets and protest, even in case of like this is even in case of like extreme sufferings, dictatorship and all that. Only 1% have the guts to do that. So it's not like there is no point in trying to convince the rest of the 99%. What we have to do is we have to reach the message far and wide. This 1% will find us, and then we sit, we collaborate with them, and we do whatever is necessary. That's it.
Since there's no like methods for mass extinction yet, I'm guessing you guys support like euthanasia for like terminally ill people. What do you guys think about
See,
euthanasia?
I don't oppose euthanasia. Like, I mean, for terminally ill people, yes, absolutely. I support euthanasia, and for extreme sufferers, I support euthanasia. But I don't support right to die for people who can, like, who are not extreme sufferers or terminally ill or like very disabled, or having some mental disorders. So I don't support right to die for them, because they have a moral obligation to stay here and help the rest of the sufferers. Yeah.
What would you count as like extreme sufferers? Is that just like terminally like ill people or people with, like painful diseases?
No, I would actually I would actually say, like, see, extreme suffering obviously has it, right? Like, there is a difference between stubbing your toe and living in a pedophile's basement, right? I mean, yeah, there is a difference between like being a third degree burn victim and having some small burns in your hands, right? So extreme difference between extreme suffering and like tolerable suffering is like obvious. I mean, I'm not supporting tolerable suffering. I'm just saying that like we have a moral obligation, because like life is not going to be fair. Sometimes you have to tolerate some suffering. Sometimes you even have to cause some suffering. You just take abolitionism again, right? So it literally took a war. Right. So war means like how many people would have died, how many people would have gotten tortured and all that. But still, like, they did it and they liberated slaves. Right. So life isn't going to be fair. It's not going to be like peaceful. Extinction is not going to, like, it is not going to make it easy for you to cause extinction. For example, if you already see, right, so reproduction is so bad. We are bringing new individuals into the planet, and we can't guarantee their safety. Like, for example, if I have a child, I cannot guarantee the child's safety. But still, like, humanity should continue. Like, if you like really think about it, because if we, I mean, this is not happening. I'm just meaning like theoretically. If we all go extinct, right, then animals will suffer in like this hellhole. Like, animals will suffer in nature. They'll be starving. They'll be burning in wildfires. They'll be drowning in floods. They'll be like thirsty without water. They'll be having diseases. Predators will be ripping apart the prey, and like all kinds of shit will happen. So we have a moral obligation to stay and cause the most optimal extinction and make sure life doesn't come back. Make sure we reach much as possible, right? So yeah, if it takes for us for humans to continue and we have to reproduce, we have to do it,
Yeah,
right?
because if we go
So
extinct, another animal will just take our place eventually. It'll probably take a while, but another animal will probably take our place, and then it'll be their job. So we might as well just do it. Oh, that makes
but
sense.
are you saying like it'll be their job and they have to do it? Like we can extinct ourselves.
Yeah, like if we make humans go extinct and leave the animals, eventually, like another animal will become like us. Like it will evolve intelligence like ours,
What
and
if that
then
animal also decides to leave the other animals and ends itself?
pardon?
What if that animal, the new humans
Okay.
2.0, they also try? That is
Well,
like,
we'll just create a really
yeah.
long chain.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
well,
we just need to put an end to the system as fast as we can, basically.
yeah.
And we're completely
It is.
against excuses that lead to anyone being left out, basically. Um, it's only by luck that I wasn't born as an animal, getting ripped apart as a baby by several predators at the same time, which happens every day. So yeah, it's urgent. We can't leave it to other people or hope for this or that. We have to be active and action orientated. So like antinatalism, it's like opting out of the system as opposed to fighting the system. So it's just another excuse not to fight the system, not to work towards ending suffering.
Yeah, we cannot say that, right? Like animals can rot. We'll just save our own species. That is discrimination. It literally doesn't matter whether you suffer or like a black person suffers or a woman suffers or a gay person suffers or animals suffer, whether that animal is a wild animal or a farmed animal or an urban animal, uh, whether that animal is on some other planet and it's an alien, all suffering is suffering and deserves to be stopped. So we have to take it up. So we are here, we are conscious, and we are intelligent enough to do this. So we are morally obligated to check it out and try to cause the most vast extinction so that like we can save like as much as we can.
I mean, yeah, we should be a force for good in the world, right? Um, we've got a world with uncontrolled suffering. Nobody's got any sort of plan to do anything about it. No one cares. There is effectively no advocacy for the wild animals and their suffering, right? Um, humans have done everything in their power to escape from nature, to fight nature for their own benefit, right? Build a house, develop medicines. Wild animals have never seen improvement in their conditions in the entire time that they've existed because they don't have the intelligence to develop medicines, to develop improvements, right? And equally, they can't. So not only are they going to suffer the worst suffering ever because there's nothing they can do against it, they also can't end the system, which continually is forcing non-consensually life to exist in very poor conditions.
So animals are programmed to animals are programmed to have children as well. So it's actually like coded in our DNA to keep this suffering going on. You know, that's why animals can't stop it. and they don't have like access to like technology or anything. But yeah, but that's probably why it's our responsibility. Oh.
Yeah. Even like we humans are coded to survive, reproduce, and propagate the species for no reason, right? Like DNA replication is just a chemical reaction, but suffering is a real conscious experience, right? So, yeah,
Yeah, and going back to the slavery thing, right? There's been movements for small minorities uh, throughout all of history, but it was only inevitable that there would eventually be a movement that targeted all suffering. Because veganism, vegans are only looking to help farmed animals. You know, LGBT activists are only really looking to help LGBT people, etc. Right? So there's no system ensuring fairness for all. No one's actually, you've got countries that are against each other. There's no one saying we should all have equality and 100% safety from suffering, and we should, make, life deserves better. So let's make it happen. So that's what the pro-extinction movement is about. It's about actually getting off our asses, doing activism, and ending all suffering, right? Because this is the only way with extinction to guarantee no more suffering. It's the only way to say we won't allow victims for the sake of others to benefit or for me to benefit, right? It's saying, I might be privileged and benefiting from this system, but over 99.9% of life born on this planet, which is sentient, so not including bacteria, dies painfully during childhood and they don't reach adulthood. So over 99.9% of life born here is a life that you wouldn't want to experience.
Wait, is that true that 99% of life has died during childbirth?
No, not during childbirth, during childhood. So they never reach adulthood.
Oh wow! I don't know that.
So yeah, that includes insects, fish. There's a lot of species that have, one animal over its lifetime will have literally millions of babies, sentient, babies that are, they're active and they're going off, but most of them die, get eaten, starve to death, freeze to death, and we can never know just how bad their experiences are because we can't experience it ourselves. But we can say that it's better safe than sorry. I think I like.
Yeah, 99%, 99.9% life is actually like not human animals. And one turtle like lays like 1,000 eggs or like something, right? So does all 1,000 of them make it? No.
Yeah, and it's just by luck that we weren't born into that life of fear, confusion, and violent death, basically, where only the top 0.1% make it out, and even then they probably have quite a rough time as well. Like, would you want to be born as a mosquito? Would you want to be born as a parasite that can only survive by burrowing into the eyeballs of certain life forms? There's so many life forms that you probably would just they'd be much better off not existing, right? If there was a chance that you were going to be born as an animal in nature, you'd probably do everything to avoid that chance.
Oh yeah, any animal. I wouldn't want to be any animal. Except maybe like domesticated pets or something. But
I mean, even my cats, right? I feel bad for them because it's like a lot of the time they're just lying around doing nothing. They're clearly bored, and no matter how much you love your pet, you're never going to have all the time to give it a full life, right? And there's a risk of it going wrong, etc. So like even the ones in civilization, you still have humans having terrible lives. But the ones in nature, right? They are truly fucked.
Yeah. Even if a human suffers too much, we tell him like you are being treated like an animal. You are living like an animal, right?
Yeah, because it's ingrained
So,
into our like culture, our society.
yeah. So
Yeah, and not
we
because we
that much
haven't.
animals
Not,
are like we use them as a metaphor for suffering.
yeah, but you see, the culture isn't evil. It's not that people are just bad, right? It's nature. Again, like through evolution, it was evolutionarily advantageous to be less empathetic, to be focused on your own needs, your own requirements, right? And and again, like you wouldn't be able to go out and kill animals and kill other humans or do whatever was necessary for survival unless you weren't empathetic. So we are seeing a continuation of that, and arguably as society has gone on and the zeitgeist has kind of gotten more advanced along with society and technology. I think that we are sort of intellectually evolving now to where we can now say, right, after all this time, we can finally put together a movement to end this. And you could definitely argue that as science and technology has improved, our kind of understanding of what's possible has improved. So that kind of explains why the movement's only starting now.
You guys kind of like the first people, or like how big's the group so far?
So Steve started the group 2 years ago. Steve was a vegan activist, right? But he realized that veganism is never going to be enough. It only helps a small number of victims at best. So Steve started it 2 years ago, and he's been putting out videos on YouTube, doing debates, doing everything possible, right, to try and help end suffering, this system of suffering that we're in. There's, what would you say, Steve? At least 10 people that are active now, like very active.
Yeah, really active. I think like we have like in our group we have 10 people.
So yeah, we are expanding and growing the movement on every platform. We've got several YouTube channels. I'm trying to write a book about it. Me and Steve do a podcast with over 20 episodes and about 30 hours of content on that now. We post, we write, we do everything we can. We're on Reddit, TikTok, Instagram. But we'll do anything that could get more exposure, right? More views for the message and grow the movement faster.
That's pretty good. I'm surprised like it hasn't been started before, or like I don't know, like
I mean, there have
maybe
been, I think there
fast
have
as
been
well.
extinctionists before me, but the thing is, they didn't do any organized activism. So they didn't form a group, they didn't coordinate with other activists. There have been people here and there like making videos about even like I think like they have made videos about all this reaching extinction to the universe and all this. Uh, there have been some people before me. It has been like I think since YouTube started, we have had some people, some YouTubers. Uh, but nobody like made a group, did some organized activisms, like for example we have like a system, like we have Reddit, and then we all do some coordination, invite a lot of people to our Reddit, and then post our extinctionism on Reddit. And then there are people who invite people like you for discussions and debates. And like for example the person who invited you does only the invitations, like we do the discussions. So it's like really coordinated activism, right? So I don't think there have been any groups before that did this for extinctionism.
All right, so you're kind of like the first person to like actually formally do it, not just think, like
Yeah, exactly.
in that sense.
Because people are always going to be popping up here and there with the same ideology. Uh, yeah, so I think even in 1800, some people have talked about uh, these ideas, but like the thing is that like somebody has to take the step and make it organized, right? So I did it, and we even take some. We have even done some street activism, demonstrations, protests, etc. There is one happening in Germany, like on 14th right now. Yeah, right now it's being organized.
Oh, that's very impressive. Yeah, it's pretty good that you got the whole you got a whole group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so like anyone can join. You don't need any sort of requirements. No skills are needed. You know, there's extremely basic and simple ways to start doing activism, like posting on Reddit, even if you're just copying and pasting stuff or posting memes that we've created or starting to make your own memes, starting to make your own videos. Most people that join kind of start with simple stuff as they kind of learn more about the movement as well, get more familiar with it before they can properly represent it. But you know, even on your first day, there's lots of things that would be simple and easy and helpful.
I'll definitely check this out. Yeah, I'm definitely happy to join, I think.
Great.
yeah. James will send you the link. There is one Discord group and WhatsApp group. So WhatsApp group is majorly used for discussing activism and coordinating activism. And general discussions about the ideology and the movement is done in like Discord.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So James will send you like you can join.
Yep. And in the meantime, everyone else, check out End Suffering. That's our subreddit on Reddit. Obviously, check out all the videos on this channel. This is the Pro Extinction channel, the main channel, Steve's channel. And yeah, check us out everywhere. My YouTube channel is Universal Extinction. I'm starting on TikTok now. So, you know, all of us activists are kind of working together to come up with better methods to improve each other's ways of doing activism. We're learning a lot of skills, teaching a lot of skills to each other, and yeah, working together in a serious and organized way to grow the movement and make ending as much suffering as we can possible.
Do we have any questions, James, or like we can? I mean, take only like genuine questions. Promote extinctionism by reducing suffering by sterilizing zebra, lions with the robots as your mascots. Do you have any better suggestions that the majority will likely get on board with? One is that you don't understand how we want to use AG. I mean, you literally don't have brain, right? So you are comparing something that we said like using AGI in our project to sterilizing lions with robots. That's what you imagine, right? When you hear the word AGI, you just imagine some Terminator going and sterilizing lions and zebras. So only that much brain you have, I guess. And I we just discussed this. Like for even for like hugely successful social justice movements, like majority didn't get on board with it. They never got on board. So like only like 1%, like not more than 1% of people worked for the movement actively, and the rest of the 99% of the society were actively opposing them and standing in their way, that doesn't mean like those causes are invalid, right? So even if like everybody leaves from my group tomorrow, I'll be still fighting for extinction because it's the right thing to do. I don't worry about people getting on board. Like if everybody says nobody will get on board with it, so let me just stay inactive. That's just an excuse, and nobody is going to get on board. Like if you feel something is right, you have to fight for it and not worry about like other people. That's it. I mean, why do you want like rapists to get on board with eradicating rape? They'll never do it. Always the system, the activists, they have forcefully stopped the like injustices.
Well, he got one thing right. The methods have to be developed. We'll need more people. Yeah, I mean, humanity is the vehicle for ending suffering because it's the only like properly intelligent species that exists that we know of, right? Like animals can't do
We will
anything.
need more people, but literally you aren't going to convince a narcissist who has zero empathy to join the cause. What motivation does he have to join the cause, right? So he literally his brain thinks suffering is not bad.
He's saying that we should develop the method based on what the majority of oppressors feel.
99% of the people never that's what I said, like in 1958 94% people were racist. They didn't like the idea of anti-racism. That doesn't mean like black rights wasn't achieved or something, right? So I don't think like people need to like it, because like 99% of the people are going to oppose you and they are never going to accept extinction. You as an empath, you have to like somehow make it work. You have to think of smart strategies to make it work and make it happen.
Yeah, the thing about being an activist is, it is simple and easy, but it's not for complete idiots, right? You still have to represent the movement correctly, and every activist in the movement is a part of the think tank, right? Steve isn't like the dictator. It's sort of a democracy. Just whatever works, right? Most people in the group, if not everyone, I would say, is of the same understanding that you know personal relations aren't as important as the movement. We just whatever's best for the movement, whatever's smart, whatever's a good idea for it, that's what we value, right? So we're united by that common cause. Yeah, I don't think we have any more questions. Guys, if anyone else is interested in joining the movement, check us out on Discord, come and have a chat with us, or join the WhatsApp group as well. Check us out on Reddit by searching End Suffering, one word. That's the subreddit. And let's spread the movement of peace, right? And ensuring zero suffering for all life. End the system of forcing life into existence and extreme conditions and extreme suffering. It's not fair. And you know what? I'm convinced that as technology gets more advanced, sadists are going to find ways to invent super torture and super suffering, right? This is the kind of madness that unfortunately life in this uncontrolled, natural world causes, right? There's unlimited risk. There's literally no upper limit on how much suffering a being can exist. Right now, I can't say that something terrible is not going to happen to me tomorrow. So the thing is, it's in everyone's best interest, right? There is no upper limit to how much you can suffer and be trapped in that suffering, right? You can't just say go and commit suicide. Most people can't commit suicide even if they want to. It's too scary, too difficult, and animals, it's even harder for them, if not completely impossible. I'm sure someone could say that an animal has killed itself at least once in history. But you
Yeah.
know, a system where you have to bring yourself to do something as psychologically horrifying as committing suicide is not the solution. Prevention is the solution, not treatment after the fact.
Yeah, when you look at it, like people say, like it's getting better. Technology is like improving. Society is improving. But you look at what technology has done. Technology has invented factory farming, right? Which is basically legal, cruel torture of farmed animals. Technology has invented darknet, where people sell body parts, drugs, and child pornography, animal torture videos to sadists for Bitcoin, right? So technology has invented nuclear weapons, nerve agents that can give you a slow death, which is being used in war zones, right? So like technology, social reforms, all these things only transfer suffering to some individual. So if you invent the internet, then you have darknet. Uh, if you make I mean, it's not possible again. But if you make the entire world vegan, all animal industry closes. 35 million square kilometers of forest is reforested, and wild animals will suffer. So whatever you do, suffering just changes forms and changes its the species, the race, the gender of its victims.
Transfers.
But it never ends. The forms of suffering, the cause of suffering, the type of suffering, the type of sufferers, these are the things that change. But suffering is actually like always like increasing and increasing along with the population. Yeah, population of animals and humans.
Yeah, and now there's so much more on this topic that we could go into if you're interested in more details, more specifics, and what about this and what about that. Obviously, the simple message to join on board with is let's end all suffering. Let's make sure that no victim has to suffer, right? But there's a lot more to it, obviously, under the hood. So join the movement, have a chat with us, check out our videos and our podcast. The podcast is one of the best resources that we've got because each episode is like an hour to 2 hours doing a deep dive on a specific topic, such as why antinatalism is bad, right? It's a very deep dive, very thorough. So yeah, thank you for joining us, everyone, and we will see you next time at Hypnotized. We would love to see you on. Do you use Discord?
Not regularly, but I do have an account.
Yeah, we've also got a WhatsApp group if that works for you.
Yeah, I mean either.
Yeah, send him both the links. He can join.
100%.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Great. Okay. Thank you, everyone.